Are you looking to vanquish your foes in the next standard tournament? No, I'm just joking. But seriously, if you are looking to vanquish some standard foes, then this deck's probably a pretty good choice. It was piloted by Harlan Führer in the Star City Games SCG Open in Richmond this last weekend, and it looks really good. So it's basically a Jeskai Ascendancy combo deck, but instead of being full-on combo with infinite mana or the heroic version, this just pretty much tries to play really good cards and then Retraction Helix and Springleaf Drum. But they are kind of necessary because they do let you go off infinite, and I think they are a worthy sacrifice. And everything else is completely stellar though, from very simple things like Raise the Alarm, which makes 2 tokens, and Hordling Outburst, which makes 3 tokens, to cards like Stoke the Flames, which are absolutely insane in this deck. First of all, they almost always cost 0, because you just tap everything and then it taps with Jeskai Ascendancy, and it's for either to the face or you remove a blocker. It's just so versatile and incredibly good. And 0 is the exact cost you want for any card in this deck, because there's a moment where you have Jeskai Ascendancy and you don't have the infinite combo, which if you don't know what it is, I'll explain it in a little bit. But you don't have it, but you have a bunch of creatures and you have Jeskai Ascendancy in play, and if you're thinking, if I can just play enough spells, I can just swing for value and probably win the game from there. And Stoke the Flames is exactly the card that enables that, and you actually just want to keep drawing them because they're really, really good. Okay, so if you don't know the infinite combo, basically what you need is 2 creatures, which Hordling Outburst and Raise the Alarm makes it really easy to make 2 creatures, a Retraction Helix, and a Springleaf Drum. These creatures should have either haste or not have Summoning Sickness, by the way. So what you do is you cast a Retraction Helix on one of the creatures, so giving them the Retraction Helix ability, and then you tap the other creature to generate a mana with Springleaf Drum. And with the first creature, you tap it to bounce Springleaf Drum back to your hand, but now you have the mana, so you can replace Springleaf Drum. And when you do that, Jeskai Ascendancy triggers and untaps all your creatures, giving them +1/+1 in addition to that. So you can do this all over and over again, but each time you do it, your creatures get bigger. It becomes a lot faster if one of those creatures, or multiples of them, are Seeker of the Way or Monastery Swift Spear, because every time you play Springleaf Drum, they get +1/+1 from prowess. So you might get there pretty quick. Once you have those creatures as big as your opponent's life total, you can swing in for the win. Or if you can't swing through, you can just make sure that every attack you make is lethal, so that you have to block everything. And then you don't win, but it's kind of like a removal spell, so it's pretty good. Here we have Dig Through Time. And if there ever was a deck where it was really unclear whether it should be Dig Through Time or Treasure Cruise, then this is probably it. I think there are a lot of good arguments for both, and I think ultimately the reason Harlan ran Dig Through Time is because sometimes you just need to find that Jeskai Ascendancy, but it's probably a time you're already not doing well. Hard to say, because the deck has a lot of redundancy. It feels like sometimes you just want to draw 3 and you don't even care what they are, and because there are only 21 lands, you're not very likely to draw 2 or 3 of them. But Dig does let you find all the necessary pieces. However, it does cost 1 more. So it's hard to say what's better here. I think it's debatable, and I think if you're going to play this deck, which isn't very expensive by the way, on Modo it's about 170 tickets, which is not budget, but it's reasonable. Like, it's certainly cheaper than some other decks. Yeah, do try out Treasure Cruise, because I'm wondering if it's just better. I'm not sure, but we're going to be playing with the list that Harlan was playing in Richmond. Land base is pretty simple. You have mana confluences, which are kind of necessary, and I'd be even tempted to put in more of them. Mystic Monasteries, which is self-explanatory. We have some Pain lands, free fetch lands, some Scrylands. Again, Scrylands, whilst they seem slow, they are really necessary, because you need to dig towards your Jeskai Ascendancy. You need to find it. Sideboard. Sideboard is interesting. I mean, it's very clear why you want these options. It's just not clear what you board out for them. So, for example, Negate, obviously against control matchups or Planeswalker heavy matchups. God's Willing, pretty good against removal heavy decks. Glare of Heresy is a card that is good against any deck that runs white. And so on and so on. Magma Spray, again, pretty good against mono red. So, yeah, okay, so we're playing against mono red, game 2. We can bring in the Magma Sprays. What do we board out? Do we board out the combo? Do we take out, like, Springleaf Drums or whatever? Do we remove Stoke the Flames because it's just a little bit slower? Possible. It's hard to say though. It's really hard to say because Stoke the Flames gives you so much reach, and sometimes their creatures become bigger than toughness 2. And yeah, this is I think the problem with the sideboard of this deck, and a little bit less than the Jeskai Heroic, where it's just hard to board out. And this is what the commentators in SCG Richmond were saying as well. It's really hard to board, and I thought, nah, it's fine. These cards are very obvious. And I played with the deck myself, and I have to say, I have no idea how to sideboard yet. And hopefully that's not going to be my downfall in this 8-man that I'm taking the deck into. And just to make it clear, if we do lose on like round 1 or round 2, I'm going to make up the matches with 2-man queues. So you won't lose out on the amount of videos. It's going to be free videos with this deck either way. So sit back, relax, get a drink, and enjoy round 1.